Hello and welcome to the JTrain Podcast. It's a Chit Chat Wednesday. I'm here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and today's guest is Summer Rose. Summer Rose is an organizer. She's a moving manager. She has helped me move to Delray Beach, which this week's episodes come from Delray Beach Monday and Tuesday, and then today I was on the road and I taped with Summer to go over all the questions that come with a move and why you should hire an organizer and the weird things she's seen along the way. We also talk about moving complaints, and she gives you tips, actionable tips for how to declutter your life, which I will tell you from my experience working with Summer and having her organize my place has felt like a physical weight off my shoulders. So enjoy today's episode. She's awesome. Follow her on Instagram at Star Organizers. It's in the description of this episode. Enjoy. Hello and welcome to the JTrain Podcast. This is JTrain Freid coming to you live from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. That's right. Every Wednesday is a Chit Chat Wednesday where I sit with a friend, a comedian, an expert. I have two of those today. Friend and expert organizer to the stars from Star Organizers. I didn't even know that was the name of your company when I was saying you were the organizer to the stars. Star Organizers. Yeah. Summer Rose, thank you for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me, Jared.
So good to see you. Where are you coming from? How are you?
What's coming from New York.
Are you working? What's a Saturday? We're taping this on a Saturday, and Summer Rose just helped me with my move to Delray Beach. I gotta say, I mean, I've plugged you to death. I don't want this to be like, an infomercial. That's Definitely. My fear, because I'm happy to have you on, and I just think this is such a helpful thing. Now I'm doing the infomercial. I think it's helpful. Like, I feel like Ron Popeil. I'm on the, I'm set it and forget it. I'm pushing people to get an organizer, and I think you're great, but I think the trade itself is underrated.
Absolutely. And there are so few people doing it. I think it's definitely something people don't even realize is a career that they could go into. And so Some people have been messaging me like, are you hiring? And absolutely, I totally am always hiring. And I think people can go off and do this on their own city, on their own. And it's like a very low barrier to entry into the business as well. And so if somebody wanted to start doing this, there's no certification required, so they could just do it. There are certifications if they wanted to be certified, if they want to go learn.
Are you certified?
No, but the certification is
Listen,
not
you got your certification
from
me. I'm giving you a certification and doing a great job because you not only when you organized my apartment, I was like, I felt a weight lifted from me. Physical weight was lifted from my shoulders. And I would say the move, you came in and you were like, I kept saying as a joke that I hired a wife, that I hired someone to like be the manager. You were like the forewoman of the move. You got the movers, you got the, you submitted the insurance papers and got priced it out and all that stuff, and looked at my apartment and was like, you need a junker, you need a mover, do you need storage? Like all those things that someone would just Google and forget to put on the list maybe until, oh my, I should get a junker. You're on top of it. So is moving, is that something you've put into your repertoire, or is that something that organizers do?
So I'm also a move manager, and so this is what I do for people. We help them pack, unpack, tell them everything that they need to know for the move, and then we take care of it. Some of them don't even want to know the things. They just say, just do it. Just get it done.
I mean, I will say, just from experience, I'm going to Delray. My parents and I were having this argument. Because parents or people just spew opinions, and my parents are like, what'd she do with the winter stuff? What'd she do with the winter stuff? And I go, she put it in a closet. They go, why would she unpack the winter stuff? And I go, well, I don't want to step over a box for 3 months. I'm moving to an apartment. If I had done it myself, which I never would have, but I would have gotten movers and then just gotten the boxes and then been like, okay, I'll put whatever away. I would have put stuff away and then had boxes that were out.
Yeah,
And
you have such a big place there. You have so many closets. There's no need for you to live with boxes piled up in one of the extra bedrooms. There's a
right.
big empty closet there.
This is the point, but I guess like I think I'm like most people where they go, I'll do it later. And then you spend your life. Now the box becomes a part of your life. You forget it's there. You start making, rationalizations with your body. Like and I'll step around a box. Exactly. I'll go, yeah, I just walk that way. When you don't even realize there's a walkway in your living space that you're not using because you've said this is okay for me to live this way.
And you move your whole life around these boxes. And so now you can't have people stay in that guest room because you have a handful of boxes piled up in it. Now you can actually have guests. You can enjoy the space.
It's crazy how much it's right in front of us and we make these rationalizations. We negotiate with ourselves when we don't have to. You folded the boxes. You put them under the bed. I have the boxes for later. Listen, I'm passionate about what you do. I could go on and on. Yeah, because I was like, I'm sitting here I just remember I woke up, you came over Sunday evening. It was done by late Sunday night. You and we had dinner, and then I sent you on your way and I went to bed and I woke up and I was like, holy shit, like it's done. Yeah. Like day one, that I moved in, I'm done. And I got 3 months here of using the space to its fullest ability. It's a really nice feeling.
Yeah, I think people should really enjoy their space as soon as they start living in it, because a lot of people complain so much about moving. It's so stressful, and they consider moving to be one of the most stressful events of life, like next to a death in the family, which is crazy.
No, listen, I would agree. When listen, I think you and I we're all alike. Like whoever's listening or watching on YouTube, like. You go, like, I remember a year ago, I was like, do I want to leave my apartment and go somewhere else? And like, I talked to a real estate person. They were like, here's how much it's going to be, in your area, what you're looking for. And then I'm doing the math, adding in a move, adding in this, adding in that. And you go, people avoid moving just because of moving.
Yeah. It's a big expense oftentimes, and it's very time consuming unless you have somebody do it for you. And people have to take off work, and just the stress of it all. They don't know what to do with stuff. They don't know where to put it. They don't know how to do it, because I do this every day. So for me, it's easy and I love it. It's one of my favorite things to do is to move people and unpack a new home. I really enjoy it.
I gotta ask you. No, I. That's the thing. It's funny that you bring it up as a career. Maybe there's someone that's like, this is like one of those weird eccentricities. Is that a word? Like what makes you. There's people out there that are like, oh, I just love folding. I just love putting things away and having them in their place. I'm sure someone out there is like, oh, like I do feel good when I do that. And it could be their job. That's crazy.
Yeah, there are so many fun jobs in the world that people don't even realize exist until they meet someone who does that thing. They're like, oh, wow, that's a job I could have chosen. Like they don't tell you that in college.
I used to say, the college part of this, is that you created a business. You have a literal like empire at Star Organizers. It is funny you say that. I remember when I was deciding whether to go into comedy, and I'm like trying to figure out what does that even mean. Yeah. And I remember when you get in an office setting, I remember when I was selling life insurance and annuities and I was doing that like really young out of college, I was like, they kind of train you in this belief, like maybe this is a sales job too, that they do this, where there's there's only one way to make $100,000, and you go, and that's the reason you don't leave the job. You go, no, I have to make the $100,000 here or else it doesn't happen anywhere else. And it's like, no, the pen you're writing with, the camera you're taking a picture with, that you're looking into, all that has components, and someone had to sell it, and someone had to fold the clothes for the person that sells it. It all goes, it's wild. So I'm very happy with my move. I want everyone to follow Summer Rose on Instagram at Star Organizers. Okay, let's get to some questions because I want to ask you how was my move? Was it tough? People,
No, your move was so
for the
easy.
listeners at home that are nosy about my move. Was I okay? Was
You're
I easy
great.
to work with?
Absolutely. Very easy, very chill. I'm
Okay.
sure you were stressing out. And so you were kind of just like, I got to peace out because this is stressful. So that's great because you didn't need to be there. Once we did the decluttering, which is something that I always recommend to everybody before you move, is definitely do a decluttering.
What
Otherwise,
does
you're
that entail?
paying.
Well, yeah. So what is the number one thing? If someone's moving, what's the number one thing they should do that people don't?
Declutter before
Declutter.
you move. Yeah. Don't pay to bring all the junk with you that you don't want or need or use. So if you don't wear it, if you don't like it, if you don't use it,
See,
there's
I think
no
that's so
sense in
hard to
bringing it.
do without you doing it for them. Because I would, if I went to declutter, I would go, I need that magnet. I need
So
that old mug. How do you tell someone at home to
there,
declutter? How do they make it easier for them to
there are
declutter?
a bunch of questions you can ask. So, do I use this thing? Do I
Okay.
love this thing? Do I find it beautiful? Is
Okay.
this because some
Well,
objects, some are just objects that are art in your home. And so maybe you don't use it, but you find it beautiful, you have it out in your space, and so it's a valid reason to keep it.
I kind of do this thing whenever you would show me an article of clothing, I would go, what's the last date I was
Yeah.
wearing that? I try to think on the calendar the last time I wore it, and I'm like, if it wasn't within the year, it's got to go. I
So I
don't have
think
to.
that's great for most regularly worn clothes. And I would give an exception to that to ski clothes or special
Mhm.
occasion gowns, things like that, where you're not wearing them regularly or seasonal items. And so maybe you don't wear these as frequently. And so I wouldn't necessarily put a timeline restriction on those sorts of things.
Mhm.
But you can also think, do I have anything else that I would wear instead? Like, where am I wearing this dress? And do I have
Mhm.
another dress that I would rather wear for that sort of occasion? So if it's a dress you'd wear to brunch, like, do I have five other dresses that I'm going to first before I'm going to wear this one? Do I feel good in this? Do I feel beautiful in this? Would I
Mhm.
be embarrassed if I saw a really hot guy on the street and I was wearing this? Would I feel good going up to, what if
I
I
like
ran
this,
into my
putting them
crush in the
in real
grocery store?
scenarios. These are real scenarios. I'm walking down the street. I'm wearing this dress. I see my gym crush. Do I think
Would I be
I'm ready to talk
mortified?
to them, or am I turning the other way? If you're turning the other way, get rid of it. It's over.
Yeah. A lot of people say, like, this is my grocery store outfit. Like, this is my thing I run errands in, or this is my pajamas. But would you have a guy that you like sleep over and see you in these pajamas?
Hmm.
And so,
It's
and
funny.
not all of your pajamas need to be, you don't only need to keep really sexy pajamas, but
Mhm.
maybe the thing that's all torn to shreds and really ratty and really gross, and you've had it since high school, maybe that one can go.
It's funny, we're talking about decluttering, and now I think about that when I buy stupid shit on the road because I'm such a stupid shit on the road purchaser.
Yeah.
And I've recently on Coffee with JTrain, I talked about the move, and everyone, if you're listening or watching, you can go sign up for Patreon, patreon.com/Jared Freid. I talk all about the move to Delray. I talk about Summer Rose and the whole thing. But I was talking about getting magnets. I wanted to be getting souvenirs in cities I go to. But I was thinking about it in the way because I was I looked at my fridge when we were moving and I was like, I do have a thought that went with each of those magnets, except there were a couple that we threw away. And I was like, those were just given to me. And I was thinking about it when you were showing me the magnets. I was like,
Yeah.
those magnets I have a thought with. And those ones were a promotional thing from whatever gift bag I was given. So I was like, get rid of those. But it was funny that I kept certain
Yeah.
magnets. So I was like, that would be fun if I go to so many different weird cities, and I'm in one now, Pittsburgh, which isn't that weird. People are from Pittsburgh, but it's definitely a place people don't vacation. But I was like, I do have a memory associated with the magnet. So I went and bought one today. and I'm holding it up on YouTube. It is a pierogi with the word yins on it and the Steelers color and Steelers star, whatever they do. But I was like, it does when you move and when you put value on things with these questions, it kind of does stick with you a little bit when you're doing, after the move, after the declutter.
Some other great questions they can ask are, would I buy this again today?
Okay.
Because some people are caught up on, well, I spent all this money on it and I don't know. And so you have to forget about the sunk cost because it's already paid for. So certain things you can resell. Most things you're not going to resell. You're just going to donate it, take the tax write-off and be done with it.
Now, if someone sells something, now, are you involved with their sale? Do you
It depends what they're selling. So
Okay.
I'll sell a lot of furniture, antiques, art, silver, gold, jewelry, things like that for my clients. And so I'm like the broker basically to sell all that stuff for them.
So you get a percentage, you become business partners with...
So I just sell it for the client. And so I'll find the buyers. I have a whole list of dozens of buyers who buy various things, and I know what sorts of things different people buy. And so some like more antiques, some like mid-modern century furniture, some like jewelry, some are watch specialists.
Right. These are like, it's weird. It's so funny when you we're talking about like, a million ways to make money in this world. This is another industry, just these vultures who come into the apartment and pick through the litter, like
we do a lot of estate clearing. And so when someone passes away, we'll go through everything, figure out what the family wants to keep, what's meaningful, what's sentimental, and what's just they want it because of monetary value. I do a lot of mediating between siblings who are arguing because they all want different things from their parents who had passed.
What is the weirdest move organizing situation you've ever been in?
Well, recently I had a mover who decided we were going from New Jersey to California, and they decided to take a detour in Vegas and get wasted for a week in Vegas with the client's stuff on the truck. And we didn't even know they were in Vegas, and Vegas is not on the way. It's out of the way. We were going to San Francisco. Okay. And I'm just waiting in San Fran for a week for this truck.
You don't have like a tracking device on the truck?
Apparently the mover had just gotten a new truck, and so they didn't have a tracker on this truck yet, which is very dumb. And they had hired a new guy, so they didn't know this guy very well, and he just went on a bender, and we found him in Vegas. And the mover was like, I don't know where the truck is. The guy's not replying. And I was like, okay, great. Give me the license plate number. If you don't know where the truck is, I'll call the police, and they'll find the truck. So if you can't find the truck, I will.
This is Ferris Bueller's Day Off. This is the guys from the parking garage taking the car for a joyride. This is crazy. So
it was insane.
You basically pack up the things in New Jersey. You like hit the side of the van. You're like, okay, off to San Francisco.
See you in 5 days.
See you in 5 days.
See you in 2 weeks later. Because I made the owner of the moving company fly out personally himself to get the truck in Vegas and drive it himself to San Francisco because we needed it sooner rather than later because this client is sitting there waiting for their stuff.
What's the excuse though? Like you have an appointment in 5 days. They've made, in the negotiation, you go, okay, pick up on this date. You promise me it will be here by this date. If they had said, we promise it in 2 weeks, maybe they lose the customer, but at least you know what the date is.
Yeah.
So they said 5 days.
We paid more to get it sooner.
So what do they call you and say, hey, we got a problem. The driver's in Vegas.
We don't know where he is. No, they said we don't know where he is. And I said, well, find out where he is. You need to figure that out. Like, get him to tell you. Like, he's not answering.
This is when Summer becomes a CEO. She's just, get me my driver now.
Find this truck. Bring it to California immediately.
You're like a mob boss. Find the truck. Find it now. Or I'll have your balls in a noose. Like... That's crazy.
Like, get on an airplane and go get this truck.
So he finds the guy and they're like, give me the keys. We're taking away. You've lost your job.
Apparently there was also a mechanical issue with the truck. And so they had sent
What mechanical issue knocks the car off the road all the way to Vegas?
Who knows? It was insane. And so we call the owner of the mechanic shop, and he was in cahoots with the guy because he was giving me a different story than the owner of the company. It was a disaster.
Oh
But
my
finally, we
God.
got the truck. Everything was on it. Nothing was broken. The moving company made it right. And
See, the problem with that is like to me, this is the fun adventure of your job.
absolutely.
The tough part is you have a client who's moving from New Jersey to San Francisco. I would assume a high-end client. They're not like joking around about this. This
No,
is
she's like, "Where's my stuff?"
right.
Like,
Where
I
are my
plan to
things?
move this day. Where are all of
Right.
my valuable items?
Like this to me is the premise of like, what's the movie with Galifianakis? The Hangover. Like this is
Hangover.
the Hangover. Like this is we got to get the stuff to this place at this time. Oh my God, the driver has gone off the deep end.
Yeah.
What are on that subject? What are the peaks and pits of being an organizer, moving manager? Give me like the thing you love most about it, and the one thing you can't stand.
So my favorite thing is that I get to know so many different people and I get to know them so intimately because I touch every single thing they own. And so I get to
You make that sound so creepy. I touch all their things, so I know them
but I get
more
to
than they know themselves. I've been hanging out in the grundle of their underwear, so I know them better than they know themselves. Yeah, I guess
I
you
look
do.
through all their stuff. I ask them questions about all their stuff. They tell me stories. Everybody wants to tell me a story about every item of clothes
Right.
they've ever purchased, everything they have. And oftentimes they want to tell me a story so that they can let go of it. So they're like, let me tell you about it, and then I'll say goodbye to it. And so
Wow.
I
So
get
you've
to,
heard a lot of long-winded, horrible stories.
no, some are good stories. Some are
Yeah, I'm
great
sure some are
stories.
good, but they're not all good.
No, they're not all good.
And that's why we have that frame. You may throw it away now. Yeah, that's a good. I understand why that's fun and fulfilling too.
I had
You're
a
like,
client who, so funny. This husband and wife, they were fighting so much while I was there, and it had nothing to do with me, but I just was witnessing it. And the wife is like, we're going through winter clothes. She's like, I don't need this scarf. And he's like, but my aunt knit you that scarf. And she's like, but I don't wear it. I don't want it. And he's like, but it's from my great aunt. I don't want you to forget her. And she says, we have a giant picture of her in the living room and the candlesticks she gave us and the vase she gave us. There's no way I can effing forget her. She's all
oh
over
my.
this apartment.
I mean, that's one of those things that you realize, like how, like, because she's right. She's like, I don't want the fucking scarf from your aunt. I'll remember
Yeah.
that she was an asshole during Thanksgiving. Like, I don't need a scarf to remember your aunt. But you do. It's so emotional. It's like the husband's worried about the scarf that his wife is getting rid of. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But it's funny because like as a client, as your client, it's funny that you're like, I know everything about their life. And when you're like going through my stuff, there's not one thought in my mind of like, oh, Summer's going to have this judgment or look at me this way. Like and I don't think you're judging these people, but I do think
No.
it's like, it's funny that I don't have that. I never connect that of like, oh, she probably knows a lot about me.
Like it's a total non-judgment zone. There's no judgment on what you keep, what you get rid of. I don't force anyone to get rid of anything that they want to keep. I'll give them options. I'll ask them the right questions and to help you let go of the thing or to help you keep the thing. Sometimes also people take photos of stuff. So like sentimental clothes, stuff from high school, or if they were a high school athlete. So maybe we'll take pictures of it or even mementos, old stuff, animals, things like that. Let's take photos of it, keep it digitally. You don't need the physical object. How often are you actually taking this memory box out and going through stuff? So some objects keep, sure, and let's put them in a box. Also, like your clothing that you're just keeping for a memory and you're never going to wear that shirt, that doesn't need to be in your drawer with all your other t-shirts. So if you've got 10 memory shirts, let's put them up in a box in the top of the closet if you don't want to get rid of them. And they don't need to be in the way of your regular rotation getting dressed every day.
That's one of those things because like I had a couple jerseys that were signed and it's like a signed jersey next to my suit that was like getting in the way of like getting to my dress shirts. You're like, this isn't even done the right way. I think everyone knows that. Like, I think you have these dreams of like, especially with like a signed jersey, you're like, I'll hang it and I'll put it in my basement when I have this huge home. And I'm saying that while living in a studio, moving to an apartment. Like, I'm like, that's not happening, tomorrow. So let's have a place for this.
There's no right or wrong way. There are an infinite number of possibilities of the ways that you can organize your home. And there's never a right way or a wrong way. There's a way that's more efficient or a way that works for you or different options that will make things more functional or more beautiful.
What's the worst part of your job? What's the pit?
The part that I hate the most is the paperwork, the billing, the invoicing, the
That's
numbers.
Everyone. I think that's like everybody's worst part of their job. Like when we talk about like AI, like taking jobs, you're like, just take that job. Take that. Make the billing, make the accounting. And then there's an accountant raising his hand being like, but I like to do it.
I love that part. I want to do that. That's the only part I want to do.
Right.
Not me. I'm not that person.
Now, Summer, you're a single woman.
Yes.
You're out there. We talked a little bit about your dating life. How does moving in your job interact with, your dating life? Because I think everyone has their career and their, the specifics of their career get in the way or enhance or make better or make worse their dating life. I think people would wonder what, the questions you get, the schedule you keep. How do the two mingle?
So I get a lot of questions. It's definitely a profession people are interested in, and they want to know a lot of things. They want to ask me crazy things that I find all the time, where I am, because I don't go to the same office every day. I go to different people's homes. So it's always a different part of the city or a different part of the country or the world. And so it's just an interesting job that people are always asking about. And then
so on dates, you got guys that are like, tell me, they're curious.
Yeah, they're definitely curious.
That's cool. I mean, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
It's starting conversation. What's the most question you get most often?
What's the weirdest thing you've ever found?
And how do you answer that like on a first date?
Well, I have a folder on my phone of weird things I've found. Of pictures of weird things I found.
Okay. So there's no HIPAA regulations with the moving.
Well, I don't say
community.
like what client I found it, and I don't give any details of where I found the thing, but I just find interesting stuff, just like weird random tchotchkes that are very interesting and sometimes inappropriate that people just like have just on display as art in their home. It's very interesting.
Has it ever gotten in the way of your dating, being your profession?
I work a lot. So my schedule, like yours, I work late nights and I travel a lot and I'm very busy. And so I think the profession doesn't have to get in the way of dating. So if anybody's considering this as a profession, that's not something that it has to get in the way. You can dictate your own schedule. So if I want to say to a client, I can only work from 9 till 5 or 6, then I can go home at 5 or 6. But I work until midnight or later most nights because I just work a lot. And so you can say to a client whatever your schedule is. And so it's just more dependent on the person.
It's also got to make you, do you look at like, you get brought back to a guy's place and are you like, oh my God, I could fix you? Like, or is it like, oh my God, this is disgusting? Do you look at a place in a different way? Like, you know how the hot dogs are made. So like, when a place is really clean or dirty or, got too much going. Do you have that happen a lot?
I mean, if a place is really disgusting, I mean, it tells you about a person. They don't care about their home so much. They don't care about cleanliness. It's not something that's important to them. And so definitely if it's really gross or disgusting, you notice. And sometimes I'll look at a closet and say like, oh, wow, I can make this so much better in like 2 hours.
Do you have that? Is that in you? Or are you like, is there sometimes where you're like, let me just do this? Or
sometimes I'll want to.
Yeah. It's funny. Like you only think of yourself as like the star of the movie. So you're like, how does my life interact with dating? But like everyone's job has something. Like very few jobs are like, 9 to 5 and I come back and I go on my date and never gets in the way. And there's never, it's all careers, all professions. Okay. We are sponsored, people. Tommy John underwear. I'm wearing them right now. They're a fantastic underwear. I'm going to read their copy, but I'm just telling you right now, this is the most comfortable underwear I have ever worn. I mean, Father's Day is coming up. You have a guy, women too, they do all the underwears. I am telling you right now, I am so happy with my Tommy John underwear, and I'm an underwear snob. Boys, it's time to upgrade to the next level of underwear with Tommy John. Elevate your essentials with silky, soft, and luxurious underwear that will be the most comfortable pair you'll never want to take off. I'm wearing them. I am telling you right now. I've worn a lot of these underwears. I've worn, we've been sponsored by underwear companies in the past. Nothing lives up to Tommy John. When I've got my Tommy Johns on, I know I'm going to be cool, comfortable, and supported no matter what the day throws at me. I am wearing their Second Skin underwear, the mid-length pair. If you go to their website and see all the offerings they have a whole line of stuff. I am telling you, this Second Skin is so comfortable. And you know what it is? I don't like when my underwear has a waistband that digs into me. I also don't like when it doesn't have a real strong waistband. I need a strong waistband that won't dig in. Tommy John has that. It's a thick waistband that stands up to, it wears it the way you want to wear it, but it doesn't dig into your skin. That's huge. So I'm giving you my endorsement. I think you're going to love it. And I think if you got a guy in your life and you're looking for a gift, this is one of, and listen, most of you have an underwear that you're dealing with. Replace the back of the rotation underwear with these new Tommy Johns. You'll be happy. Tommy John is changing the game, and they'll change your life. Get 25% off your first order right now at TommyJohn.com/feather. That's TommyJohn.com/feather to save 25% off your first order. That's free money. TommyJohn.com/feather, 25% off. I'm telling you right now, I love this underwear. I'm wearing it now. Second Skin. Great waistband. I want to do a new game here on the podcast, and it's called Complaints About Complaints. Okay?
Yes.
There are complaints out there that everyone has, and they're kind of like tropes at this point. Like, oh my God, it takes, people standing when the plane lands right away. That's like a complaint we've all heard. So I asked you, what's a complaint you hear about moving that you think is a dog shit complaint?
So I think it's person dependent. And so I could tell you complaints that most people have about moving, but that aspect of the move is actually my favorite part. And so most people complain about having to unpack, and they sit in boxes for months and they just never get around to it. It's so time consuming. They don't know where to put things, and it's so stressful and annoying to have to figure out how they're going to set up their new place. And to me, that's the best part of moving. It's my favorite part. I love to unpack. I love to figure out where everything is going to go. It's like a puzzle. It's fun, and it's exciting it's also really, I take pride and joy from deciding where everything is going to go in somebody else's home, because that's basically saying, this is how this person's going to live their life. Like, this is where the coffee mugs are going to be. This is where their coffee machine's going to be. And I just get to make their life more efficient. And
Summer, I am finding out so much about you. Your need for power. You're like Thanos. You're like, I just love having control over the lives of these losers. I'm the reason they take a T-shirt out of the second drawer. I'm the reason their knives and forks are underneath the sink. I love that.
No, my clients aren't losers at all. They're all very wonderful.
I'm one of the losers.
No, you're not a loser at all.
I did say to you, though, when you got to my place in Delray, I go, you were like, do you have any thoughts? I go, no. I must be the best client in the world for you, because I'm like, you're like, do you have anything that you want anywhere? I go, do your art.
I just really like to make people's lives more efficient and more enjoyable. And so if I can put things in cabinets and in closets in a way that makes you save time in the morning because it's just more efficient. Your coffee cups are near your coffee maker,
Right.
and your plates are in the cabinet above the dishwasher, just making your life more efficient. That way you can spend less time doing the work to keep your home tidy, and it's
Mm,
just easier because you know where everything goes. So cleaning up and like tidying and getting ready for guests to come over, it's actually really easy once you've organized because you know where everything goes. So once everything
right.
has a home, putting things away is very quick. It's when you don't know where to put it, then it takes a long time. And so if I can help put a system in place for people that is easy for them to maintain, then they can go and enjoy their life with the people that they love.
I love that. Okay, here is my complaint about moving complaints. I hate when people say it's expensive. I think it is such an easy way. I think when you say something's expensive, there's an elevation socially that people are trying to do. They're trying to let everyone around them know that they are someone who cares about money more than most people. They're putting a morality on spending and where money should go. And when people say that moving's expensive, which it is a luxury expense.
Yeah.
No one needs a mover. No one needs an organizer. I think everyone would like a mover, would like an organizer. And if you have the funds and an ability to do that, you're going to do that. And if you don't, and it's a decision between eating or paying your rent and having a mover or an organizer, you're not going to do that. That's the facts of life. So when someone says, oh, moving, it's so expensive, you're saying water is wet. You're saying, oh, air is air. Like I breathe, we all breathe air. We don't care. We don't want to hear it. It is a social elevation. It is a way for that person to let everyone know they're the person that cares more about money than the rest of us. No, you don't. No, you don't.
Yeah.
You are going to tell people how expensive moving is and then get a mover, or you can afford a mover, you're not doing it, and you're doing it to like self-victimize, put yourself on the cross so everyone can say, oh, they move themselves. Whoa, look at you. You must be salt of the earth. Moving is expensive. We know. When you complain about it, we don't think you're a better person. We actually think you're judging everyone else. That's my complaint.
I agree.
Right?
Absolutely.
I love it. I love when we agree. Summer Rose, Star Organizers. Please, everyone go follow Star Organizers. And I think just knowing that summer is there for the if and when, because you don't know when a move is going to happen. You don't know when I just think, how much for you to organize an apartment? Like, how much would that
So
run
it
someone?
really depends on the size of the apartment, how many people live there, how much stuff they have. And so people can write in, they can send me videos, pictures, or FaceTime tour, and I can give an estimate. But it really varies. So you can't just say a blanket cost for an apartment or for a one bedroom or a studio, because a studio could be filled to the brim with boxes and
Right.
garbage and junk and papers always take the longest. And a one bedroom could be very sparse. And so you can't really base
Let me
it
let me
on the
just
square
say,
footage.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I just would say it's not a gold brick. Like I would say to people, it's worth investigating. You will get so much more out of being organized than the money you've spent. That I'm just such a fan. Like, has TikTok changed your business?
I'm not sure. I'm not on TikTok, so I
But do
don't
you think
really
people
know.
are more like, because there's though that on TikTok there's like an organizing hashtag, like there's an organizing
Yeah,
algorithm, like that has to be a net positive to you to know
I'm
that, like,
sure.
just so people know that organizers
Yeah,
exist.
absolutely. I think in the last 10 years or so, it's become more popular. I think prior to that, people didn't really know this was a business. Like
Hmm.
Marie Kondo made it a thing when
Right.
she came out with her book. I was doing it before she came out with her book, but people or they would hear that that's what I do, and they're like, oh wait, that's a job you could have. And
Right.
it was like a very unknown profession, and still sometimes people say that, but very few people say that, because now they're like, oh, you're like Marie Kondo. Like, similar, I agree with most of what she says, but maybe some things don't work for everybody. And so I think that there shouldn't be very hard and fast rules in organizing. I think you need to organize custom per person, per client, and per home, and what works for their lifestyle. And so that's what makes us different. We really look at what's going to work for that client, not just this is always how we do things for everyone.
That's really a lesson for life, though, if you think about it. There isn't one size fits all for anything, arguments, just anything, dating, comedy, all those things. It is, I would say, to me, if you're someone who gets someone to clean your home, if you get a housekeeper, if you're getting a housekeeper every other week, I would say one of those weeks, do an organizer, and you will find an incredible value on your hands. That would be my thought.
What I hear from a lot of people who do have home offices will do a lot of decluttering and organizing of the home office. And then I'll hear that they've 10x their business because now they're in a space where they can think creatively.
Summer Rose is always selling 10x. This is everything is tech now and IPOs. 10x. I agree with you, though. I listen, there's so many things that I look at every day. We step over boxes every day. That is the @Star Organizers on Instagram. I'll be tagging, and it'll be in the description of this episode. I'm Jared Freid. We'll be back next week. Boom.
Thanks.